I am currently in the beginning of a startup project. And you might know that it is not easy to decide where to put your energy. Is it on the product development, on the website, on talking to customers? And I don't even talk about thousands of other things that you have to do like funding, legal stuff, etc. In today's episode, I'm going to describe how I personally bootstrap this new project using the Lean Startup methodology and what I do to build a great customer's experience with no investments. Hi and welcome, I am Amaury Khelify, founder and CEO at MyCTOFriend, where founders come to learn how to build their tech startup. With this Startup Snacks series available on both podcast and YouTube, we want to share the essential to make it easier for you to build your tech startup. I don't know if you know the story, but in 2020, it was pretty hard for MyCTOFriend because I had to reduce the team from 5 people to myself only full-time. Obviously, 2020 was not as good as what we planned, and we didn't get the expected investment required to keep growing. Out of that experience, the good thing is that I created a tool to become way more productive in terms of video production. A tool to automatically add intro and outro video to my YouTube episode, as well as the same thing for podcasts with audio intro and outro. And that tool changed my life as a content producer. No need to delegate video and audio editing anymore. For each episode, everything is done automatically thanks to that tool. And I was able to increase my content production, creating an additional daily episode for my personal brand in French and English. So coming back to the process of building a startup, where were my first concerns? The first things I worked on is the fact that what works for me doesn't necessarily work for others. So I started to show to friends in the YouTube space, of course, in my niche, how I produce episodes and how it helped me to figure out that actually YouTubers don't really want the same tool as I have because they already have their own process they created over years. They love it, they love them, and they are not going to give away their own process. And most of the time with their own process, they can customize things really like they really want their for their own brand and for their own episode. So the benefits for well-established YouTubers is not there. So the first step was above all to identify who that product is not for. And at that stage, it is really, really important to really understand that it's not always a solution that should search for a problem, but it's really a problem who should search for a solution. So because, it's not because I had a problem, I created a solution for my own needs, that this solution really fits to everyone. And that's where I needed to identify and to niche down, on who really need my solution. And in my case, I got a lot of interest from what I would call the wannabe YouTuber. Getting started with YouTube is hard. Keeping the rhythm of at least a video a week is even harder. Above all in the beginning, when you know that you need to produce at least 100 videos to get comfortable and produce attractive videos, it's really, really hard to really produce quality video on YouTube. And that's when I really understood that my tool can be very useful for that specific niche, the wannabe YouTuber. So moving forward, the next things I did was just to set up a project name and to buy a domain name. So now maybe you were thinking, usually when we have a domain name, what we would do is to build a website. Not really, that's not exactly what I did. In fact, that's where most of founders get lost. They start a huge website development project, which doesn't make sense. And what I did instead was just to set up an email marketing tool with a subscribe form like this one, sharing just 2 to 3 bullet points of what my tool will provide, inviting people to let their email address, and it took me 5 minutes to redirect my domain name to this page. And that's my website. That's enough to get started. You might wonder, yeah, but why not spending a bit of time on the copy or the sales copy of my website? It can be easily done. You're right, but you know what? I had no idea what people were looking for. I had no idea if my problems were their problems. So no need to waste time on the sales copy at that stage. Just put a basic sentence to position the project. That's it. The next things then I did was to create an entire page with video tutorials to help my niche to identify themselves and to achieve their goals. Showing, of course, what my product can do for them in that process. But here, 90% of the value provided is the methodology, is the knowledge that I share around my product, how to achieve specific goals. And at that stage, your solution is not what will convince people for sure, because your solution is a prototype or an MVP, and they are not going to sign for just an MVP. They are going to sign for all the value you are going to add around that MVP. Here, the prototype, the MVP, the first version of your product will only represent like 10% of the value provided. The rest will be advice, tips, etc. that you are going to provide to your users, to your final audience. And in my case, yes, I have a product. Yes, I have that 10%. But you know, my prototype is, I don't even have a software to install or even a website. No, I have nothing user can see. My MVP is just a script plugged to a shared Dropbox directory where people can just drop a video if they want it to be processed in the true process directory. And then a few minutes later, it's processed and they can find the results, the end video in the last directory. And that's it. That's a script. That's a prototype. It works like a prototype. It's just a script who runs on servers and it's easily done, you know? So to help my clients, you know, and to help your clients, the best way is simply to be your customer assistant. Don't count your time on your first customers. And that's where I am currently right now. That's what I am doing. I do offer Zoom call to my very first users. I do everything for them. I mean, I create a simple but effective intro and outro video because that's what they need. I create PowerPoint templates. I do the same thing with a podcast format as well, etc. And I do anything that can smoothen the onboarding experience to enable them to really move from not using my tool to becoming a regular user. And that way, even it's that, I mean, doing PowerPoint when you are a CTO, it doesn't make sense, but still it enabled me to really understand the process and really being able to know what I need to prepare to create a great customer experience. And that's the thing. So this step, the step where you are your customer's assistant, is mandatory because any software is complex, even the simplest one. If you would use Airbnb for the first time, it would be complex as well. I mean, you would need to read every single message to really understand the workflow and how it works, right? And the problem is that when you get started, your product don't have all these perfect messages. The one that really describe the perfect customer path. You just have a bare solution. And much more important than the product itself, tutorials, onboarding messages are a must. And the only way to create them are just to do the onboarding work yourself for all your first users, right? To identify common patterns, common questions, how difficult it is to set up, customize your software for a new user. So do it on Zoom call, of course, and to identify common difficulties inside your product, but above all, outside your product. You know, not everyone will start with the same knowledge as you, the same knowledge that you gain in this market. And for sure, you can provide tons of valuable tips to help them meet their goals. So becoming your first customer assistant is the best job you could ever do on the beginning of your startup project. Don't try to be scalable on the day one. It will never happen. So in conclusion, what can you take away from today's episode? First, question your audience to identify, to confirm what they really need and if that's the same need as what you thought. Secondly, niche down on who could be your perfect customers and who your users might not be as much interested as what you thought. Then pick a name, can be a temporary, and buy a domain name. Then create an ultra basic tool. Don't even use a user interface in some cases. Just the look and feel, doesn't really matter as soon as you make up with one-on-one interactions. And then, of course, at that stage, you set up just a mailing list for your website so that people can subscribe to what you have to share with them, usually knowledge, tutorials, tips, etc. Be your customer's assistant. That's the best recommendation from this video. Create tutorials along the way, optimize your solutions along the way, identify questions, difficulties, etc. And last, here we are. You can create the public website, sharing your first customer's feedbacks, doing the marketing, improving the onboarding messages, tutorial, improving the user interface, one client at a time. That way you will build a wonderful and fully scalable customer experience later on. If you enjoy learning with us and want to see more, consider subscribing. Help us spread the word by hitting the like button and by sharing with your entrepreneur friends. If you have any questions or want to suggest a topic, feel free to comment down below. And you can also check out our website to learn more about our program and how you can join it.